Hello fighters, welcome to the Today in the Military World channel. If you enjoy news, stories, facts and armed forces from the military world, join now in our ranks by subscribing to the channel. And fire at will at like, and let's go to the video. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue to respond forcefully to rocket attacks. Israel has recorded nearly 3,000 rocket launches since Monday, May 10, 2021. A UN Security Council meeting is set to take place later on Sunday, and the 57-nation Organization of Islamic Cooperation is holding virtual emergency talks. The Israeli military says it has bombed the home of the political leader of the Palestinian militant group Hamas in a wave of airstrikes on the Gaza Strip. It released video of an exploding bomb which it said had hit the home of Yahya Sinwar, the group's overall leader in the territory. Israeli airstrikes in Gaza killed at least 33 people early on Sunday, officials there said. Militants fired rockets at Israel, with a new barrage on Sunday afternoon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue to respond forcefully to rocket attacks. Israel has recorded nearly 3,000 rocket launches since Monday. A UN Security Council meeting is set to take place later on Sunday, and the 57-nation Organization of Islamic Cooperation is holding virtual emergency talks. U.S. President Joe Biden phoned Mr. Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to express concern about the situation on Saturday. Since the fighting began on Monday, at least 181 people have been killed in Gaza, including 52 children and 31 women, with 1,225 injured, according to the Hamas-controlled health ministry. Israel says dozens of militants are among the dead. 10 people, including 2 children, had been killed by militant attacks on Israel, Israeli officials say. The flare-up of violence over the last 6 days came after weeks of increasing Israeli-Palestinian tension in East Jerusalem, which culminated in clashes at a holy site revered by both Muslims and Jews. Hamas, the Palestinian militant group that runs Gaza, began firing rockets after warning Israel to withdraw from the site, triggering retaliatory airstrikes. How heavy were the overnight bombardments? Israel's military said it had struck the homes of both Yahya Sinwar and his brother Mohammed Sinwar, whom it described as head of logistics and manpower for Hamas. Both residences had, it said, served as military infrastructure for Hamas. Local sources confirmed to media that the Hamas leader's home in the Gaza town of Khan Younis had been bombed. There were no immediate reports about the fate of the two brothers. Multiple airstrikes rocked Gaza City during the night, with dozens of people reported missing under the rubble of homes, said the BBC's Rushdie Balouf in Gaza. I have never covered airstrikes with such intensity. Explosions are everywhere in Gaza. There are difficulties in communicating with officials to find out where the strikes are, he said on Twitter. The building in which I live in, the western part of the city, shook like an earthquake, he said. A hysterical state of chaos, children and women in the building that houses more than 200 people screaming. According to the Hamas-run health ministry, 33 people were killed and 50 injured in Gaza overnight, with 8 children and 12 women among the dead. Shortly after noon, rockets were launched by militants in Gaza against Ashkelon, Ashdod, Netivot and other parts of central and southern Israel, according to Israeli media. There were no immediate reports of casualties. Some 120 rockets had been launched overnight, but there were no reports of serious injuries. What are the prospects for a ceasefire? Blaming the militants for the conflict, Mr. Netanyahu said strikes would continue for as long as necessary and everything possible was being done to limit civilian casualties. On Saturday, the Israeli military blew up a tower block in Gaza City used by international media after issuing warnings to evacuate it. President Biden told Mr. Netanyahu he continued to support Israel's right to defend itself. He expressed concern over deaths on both sides and called for journalists to be protected. Speaking to President Abbas, the U.S. leader said he was committed to strengthening the U.S.-Palestinian partnership. He also said the Hamas rocket fire into Israel had to stop.